Yo, what up, YouTube? Alonso Q, and here's another grievance video for you for Festivus, and this is a big grievance I've had. And if you go look through my videos, this is actually a running theme through my videos, and to the point that this might even be a redundant video. But I want to get this out there before the year's up, and then maybe I could start moving forward with more productive stuff. But what I want to talk about is anti-white hatred, anti-white bigotry, and it's so fucking prevalent right now, to the point that I legitimately, honestly, I say this from the bottom of my heart, I swear to God, that I think anti-white bigotry is a bigger threat to fucking people of color than white nationalism or the alt-right or any of this anti-Semitism or all this this white racism that everybody's making a fuss about. I legitimately think the anti-white hatred that is the backlash to it is even more dangerous and even more troubling. And it worries me because I see people accepting hatred of white people just because their skin color's different, you know? It's gotten to this point where it's like, yeah, it's okay to be racist against white people because that's the bad race. Just think about that. Just think about that. It's gotten so disgusting. And look, I am a reform fucking racist, man. My whole youth I was racist against white people. Probably into my 20s been racist against white people. It's probably really only the last, I've always been a we're all one race kind of guy, but there's always been that bitterness towards white people in me. Like the first rap, or one of the first raps I ever wrote, it was called the Cracker Smacker rap. And I just hated on white people at school, openly even sometimes, but a lot of times it's just friends, just talking shit on white people and hating on fucking white people. And I don't even know where it came from. It's not like people were like super just racist against white people, but you pick up these attitudes. And I'm from New Mexico. There's a history here. This used to be Mexico. America came in, and a lot of people lost land. There's a lot of lingering bitterness over the generations, and that's a big part of it. And the culture clash of the traditional way of living and the fucking American capitalism, and the fact that it came through by force, that has a lingering impact on people. So that's a part of the atmosphere here. And a good friend of mine and my family, I remember growing up, and he would always make comments about I don't get why people talk about racism, because here white people are the minority, and I get fucking talked shit to for being white. And I used to be like, yeah, whatever, well, this is the only state, so sucks for you. I don't give a fuck. And I was real dismissive of it. And I would listen to like real hardcore pro-black rap. Like I remember there's a Dead Prez song where they're talking about everywhere the white man go, he fucks it up. And my friend's like, oh, come on, that's bullshit. I'm like, no, that's true, man. Because I used to buy into that stuff. But you know what? You grow up and you have to let go of that bitterness. You have to let go of that hatred. And what I'm seeing now is it's not like a casual joking thing, like my friend's white, you know. If we had those exchanges, it was in jest, you know. If I said fuck white people, he knew I didn't mean him. But I'm still saying like fuck the man, fuck the white man. And I used to be on that fuck the white man shit. But that's just some racist shit. And I'm not with that anymore. And it troubles me that it's so commonplace to be with that now. Like, I used to be like fucking sort of outcast for being like, fuck the white man. And all of a sudden, it's like on TV, fuck whitey everywhere. White people suck, white people suck. White people hating on themselves, this white guilt and self-hatred. And look, I'm white as fuck. I don't got no guilt for being the son of conquistadores, motherfucker. And any guilt maybe I had, you know, I don't really identify as religious anymore. And a lot of that has to do with the history of colonialism and stuff like that. But we are where we're at. And history brought us to where we are. So to try to be ashamed of something that happened generations ago, what the fuck does that accomplish today? But that's what you see, is this blame everything on white people, and by extension capitalism and all this stuff. It's just so commonplace, and to the point where you can't even agree with white people on some stuff, or you get written off as a traitor or a white fucking white supremacist or a fucking coon or coconut or Tio Tomas or fucking whatever, you know. I've said this multiple times. All these names that you get called if you step out of the box of what's an acceptable minority, and it's what it is anti-white hatred. And I'm saying this because I've dealt with this for a long time, you know, and like for instance, I used to watch the Young Turks. There's a guy, Dave Rubin. He's this really, he's a really smug looking white guy. And I remember seeing him on there, and I'm like, oh, look at this fucking white guy. I remember that. It was like a visceral thing. I saw him, and I'm like, oh, this fucking white guy. And then they said something about him being gay, and I'm like, oh, of course, he's just some gay fucking token gay white guy. And then he ended up being the smartest dude on the show, and it didn't take him long to win me over. And I'm like, see... But I didn't like him initially because I had a prejudice against him because he was white. And I'm able to move past that. I don't just fucking outright hate people for their skin color, but I've dealt with that prejudice my whole life and been biased against white people and just having like a bitterness. And that bitterness is poison. And that's what this video is about. And it's not trying to justify white people, especially the racist fools, especially those hardcore alt-right guys. I don't know those. I don't associate with people like that. But I'm talking about the acceptance of white hatred and blaming white people for everything. And just repainting history as if only white people ever did fucked up things, as if Indian tribes weren't fucking at war the entire time before white people got here, and as if there weren't alliances with white people between different groups, and as if it wasn't a very complicated history, including with slavery. And people, try to just paint it into this thing of white people are the devil. White people, everything white people ever touched turned to shit. Even though the reality is basically the opposite. Everywhere white people have gone, people have fucking iPhones and shit now. So that's where you get this hardcore backlash of the alt-right and these people who stand up and say, no, man, white people did good shit. If you can be proud of who you are, then I can be proud of who I am. And that's what identity politics is. Identity politics is garbage, and it drags down anybody who believes in it. I used to buy into this like Chicano nationalist stuff, but as soon as you talk about race is just ridiculous, man. And okay, you want to blame white people for inventing race, we can have that discussion, but if you're going to keep attacking them for being white while saying that race is a problem, you're not even seeing how big of a hypocrite you are. Because as soon as you start talking about race, it's so ridiculous because where do you cut it off? How many generations back do you go? Like, they had to put this stuff in law before. And to some degree they still do with the Native American tribes and the blood quantum and stuff. And that's a disgusting racist tool. But the thing is, you're the ones turning it into a race thing. And you're the one trying to define people by race and you're the one making the cutoff. I'm not Latino enough. So you might as well be a gringo because you fucking agree with them about capitalism. And capitalism is evil because white people invented capitalism and white people are evil. And it's just... It's circular logic. It's just pure bitterness. And that's the thing with, if you look back to the abolitionist movement and even the revolution and stuff, part of the logic behind slavery's bad or tyranny's bad is that it's not just bad for the person being ruled over. It's bad for the person doing the ruling too, because it corrupts your spirit. So if you're hating white people for being white, that's corrupting your spirit. It doesn't matter if you use all these bullshit third wave feminist, cultural Marxist nonsense where they say racism is power plus privilege or whatever BS they use to justify their bigotry and their hatred. It doesn't matter. It's still poison, and it's still inside of you, and that's why I fear it so much more than the external. Because how much of a threat are these white racist fuckers anyway? What are they gonna do to us? if somebody's a physical threat, they will be dealt with in the law. It's hopefully to the full extent, you know. Hopefully your neighbors have your back. But what's more dangerous than that external threat of these racist white assholes who want to fucking white America or whatever their goal is, who cares? What matters more is what's in your soul. And if you have contempt for white people, then you're no better than that. You're really not. There's no difference between Black Lives Matter and the alt-right. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. It's all about yourself and your crew and your group, your genes, and your people are better. And if you think white people are the bad race, how bad is that? So this anti-white hatred, it really disturbs me. It disturbs me to my core. It's something that I've been working to deal with for years. You know, it wasn't really till this election where it really clicked how bad I was in the past. And this is something that I've consciously worked on since probably around when I got out of high school, you know. But my point being that it's a damaging phenomenon in this country right now, where people are buying into this idea that it's okay to hate white people for being white, and that white people should feel guilty for being white, and all this nonsense. It dodges the issue that we're individuals and that we deserve our individual human rights that come from our humanity, and that we can't get bogged down in this division of race if we want to move forward and be together as humans. So I say give up the race thing, man. Race is like religion. I say, you know, if you want to believe something to help you make sense of the world, okay, you can do that, but keep it at home. And as soon as you start fucking judging people and putting people in boxes because of their race, check yourself, man. Especially when you think it's okay, when you find yourself making excuses for why it's okay for me to hate this group of people. Check yourself, man. It's not okay to hate white people for being white. And if you have that prejudice, I've had it too. I know it's tough to work through it, but do it. And that's what we need. We need to move beyond that, because we need to be one people. We need to be Americans, and we need to be humans before anything. So anyway, keep that in mind. Just a little rant about how how race has been a big issue lately, and I think overly made into an issue when it doesn't need to be. Tell me what you think. Like, subscribe. Peace and love, gente. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Peace and love.